In 2000, we bought an abandoned 100-acre farm in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. We spent years cleaning it up, built a new house, and now are trying to make it a functional homestead farm. Welcome to Red Toolhouse.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode here at Red Toolhouse. I'm going to have to give a warning and a disclaimer. This episode is all about piggy cuteness. So you could actually OD on all this cuteness we're about to see here. So the whole point of this is to just discuss what happened here this last week. So this episode is kind of going to just be an update about our piglets and maybe some takeaways of what we've learned and what we've learned in the past, and could possibly be applicable for you all that are looking to raise hogs on your homestead. But as I'm recording this, it is Sunday afternoon, and last night, Saturday night, we had our first farrowing. We had two hogs that are pregnant, and the first one farrowed last night. Now, she was the one that actually wasn't scheduled until this Tuesday, but as she has been the last two times, this is her third farrowing, she's always been 3 days late, or 3 days late. She's always been 3 days early. And you can set a clock by it, basically. So and if you go back to some of my previous videos, I talked about how that was a problem, because when she farrowed 3 days early last year, I had my toes in the sand in Florida. I wasn't up here on the farm, so shame on me for cutting it too close there with the vacation. But so last night we had the first farrowing, and Mercy, who is our landrace, she's landrace Duroc mix, even though she looks 100% landrace, she's got a little bit of Duroc in her. But she farrowed, and she started around 4 o'clock. She was going into labor, off the top of my head, I think she started going into labor around 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and she started, her first piglet came out at 4 p.m., and then she was done around 8 p.m. So in a 4-hour window, she had 16 piglets hit the ground. One was stillborn. Was still in the sack, so it was not viable as soon as it hit the ground. And then one didn't make it past the night. It wasn't a crushing issue. It was an issue of just displaced shoulders, the best way to explain it. I'm not a veterinarian, so I couldn't tell you what it was, but she's had a history of this. She's had, this sow's had a history of having one in her litter have this type of shoulder issue. And basically what it is the piglet can't walk. It has no mobility on its front legs. They're basically inoperable, but they just are splayed completely out. Everything else with a piglet is fine. Conformation's good, strength is good, all that type of stuff. But it's like a wheelbarrow with no front wheel. So it's sad, and you hate to see those type of things. But well, this morning when I came down, I found him. He had just kind of pushed over in the corner, and the mom had even rejected him, so he was dead. So that's one little sad element there. But again, with piglets, 100% success rate is extremely rare. So 16 piglets hit the ground, 14 viable right now, and they are ate up with cuteness. And what's funny about this batch is, they, of course, have this Dalmatian thing going on right now. They are the landrace white or pink or whatever color you want to call the landrace. But then they have the boar, the donor, was a Berkshire. So that's a black, generally a black hog with the white face and the white socks. So you can kind of see this is kind of a mixing pot here. It's kind of funny. You did see some of the Duroc still come in. There's a couple in there that have the Duroc line. You can see that in the red, their red color there. And there's one in there, he's actually one of the smaller ones, my favorite. I call him Schmutz, because he's got the black streak on his face. And he actually resembles something. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something he resembles. But anyway, really cute pig. Again, the first 24 hours are obviously a test to see if the mom is going to squish or reject or anything like that. We're kind of excited here. We are coming up on 24 hours, and we haven't had any additional loss. So we hope that'll be the case. Well, also, what we have going on, like I said, we have two sows that were pregnant. One of course farrowed last night, and then that one right there you see over there in her nest. That's Abigail, and her due date is actually today, and she's generally on time. This will be her third litter as well, and she's generally on time, so we think she should be going. She's definitely gotten into nest building mode, She started a little bit last night, which is hilarious to watch, and today she's doing even more nesting. And she doesn't even like me down here talking. It kind of aggravates her sleeping as she's, I guess, preparing for labor. But she's going to be ready to go hopefully soon, so we'll document some of that. Again, this will be kind of chronological because as I record this intro, we're kind of here at Sunday. So as we go along, hopefully I'll be able to have some progress before we post this video on Friday of this week. I apologize for the harsh lighting. It is late in the afternoon. But I want to talk about some of the signs of labor and farrowing with a pig. Obviously, the neat thing about pigs and their gestation period, that 115 days is, you can almost set a clock by it. Now, like I said, my one she's 3 days early. And now that I know, then I can prepare for that. So I go 112 with her and 115 with what's-her-face here. So the neat thing about that is you can put that on the calendar and you know, okay, this should be pretty much when these pigs are going to be due. So that really allows you to get prepared. You can put it on the calendar, get ready, those type of things. Now, the one thing I've discovered in saying that is some of you guys don't do artificial insemination. You have a boar, and of course the boar plays a visit, he has a date, and sometimes it takes, sometimes it doesn't. So I know that's sometimes a moving target for you guys. So if you've got a boar and you're doing that and you can nail that down, great. But with AI, I pretty much know, because what I do is, I dose when they're in heat, and then fast forward 21 days. If they go into heat again, then I know it didn't take. With this, and if they didn't go into heat, then I can go right back to that dosing date and say, here's the date that I administered this semen. So this should be the due date here. So that works out really well. I'm going to move over here if I can. But of course, just nailing down that date is one thing. But again, the other sign is nesting. So if you see a pig start to nest, then you know, okay, we're getting close. We're getting within 36 hours, in my experience. Maybe different for different breeds. But that allows you to get prepared. And preparation is probably the biggest thing that you need to do, especially if you're doing pastured hogs, and especially the time of year. In the past, I did farrowing in the summertime because, quite frankly, I didn't get my schedule together, and it just seemed easier on the pig and easier on me. But they ended up having pigs on pasture in the wintertime when there was no growth, and it was really destroying a lot of pasture and just not good farming practice there. So we changed our schedule here, and we're farrowing in February. So of course, one thing we have to consider in our West Virginia climate is cold weather, and we've been having an unseasonably warm February. But as luck would have it, last night it got down in the mid-20s Fahrenheit. It was a little cold. We knew it was coming, so I could at least prepare for it. So we had to do a little makeshift work, and that included putting up these tarps just to knock the wind down a little bit. Of course, always bringing in hay. I can't stress enough, man, if you can get hay in, and again, it can even be garbage hay. The thing I like about this, and I've mentioned this in a previous video, my neighbor has all these round rolls that have been laying out, and they've been laying out maybe some 4 or 5 years, and they really look funky. They got grass and moss and everything growing on them. Man, you pull back that first layer, and you've got golden stuff. Really good quality hay there. That's the beauty of a round roll. So you can't have enough of that, and that really provides a good windbreak and provides a heat source, and they can really just cuddle in there and be okay. And again, you just make it available for the sows so they can grab that and nest as they need to. So preparation there is good. One other thing we do is, because of the mud issue we've been having, I want to keep my piglets in a certain area. Obviously, I don't want them wandering off out into the pasture just yet. I still have some of our pigs that are ready for market, and they're going to go in a couple weeks. So obviously, I don't want them mingling. So infrastructure is important there. Keep them separated. But I take these 2x6s and I just nail them up to the what I consider the farrowing paddocks. nail them up there to the exit or entrance of those, and that allows the sow to step over. If like this sow likes to go out here and use the bathroom all the time because she's a nice clean mama. She doesn't like to poop where she lays, so she goes out here and uses the bathroom, so she can just step over that 2x6 with no trouble. But the piglets obviously won't be able to get over that, so that's going to be nice to kind of keep them in check, keep them from getting out in the mud and getting into trouble, and maybe stressing themselves out and dying in the mud or getting too much exposure. So that really helps. Neat little step there. And of course, just a couple nails in that. When I'm done, I can knock those back down. So last night's farrowing went relatively smooth. Again, we had one stillborn and one with shoulder issues, but we did not have to intervene. We've been blessed. This is our 7th farrowing, 7th litter, and we've yet to have to go in and pull any pigs. And you hear stories and situations where a piglet will get stuck in a birth canal and it really stresses the mom and it's hard on the piglets. It can actually cause a chain reaction of really bad things. So you have to, of course, reach in the birth canal and try to extract. And there's, again, complications with that. So we've been blessed. We didn't have to go do that this time. Again, never had to do that. You hear all these stories about people having to do that, and it's very traumatic for not only the piglet and the mama, but for the farmer too. So we were blessed. We didn't have that issue. What's really neat, and I've discovered, again, I'm no veterinarian, so I may be given some incomplete information here, but I do know the uterus of a pig is Y-shaped. So there's kind of like two areas that these piglets are forming in, and you kind of see that in the birthing process. So the first pig comes out, and of course then you have this schedule. Now again, it's not anything that you can set a clock by, but in our experience, it seems to be about every 15 to 20 minutes, if things are going well, you're going to get a piglet at least. So that was what worked last night. So about every 15 to 20 minutes, she would have a contraction, and a piglet would come out, and she reached the halfway point. And again, this is, in my experience, the halfway point is noted by the passing of partial afterbirth. So I don't know if that's one side of the uterus that's being passed there, and some of you guys that are more experienced in pigs would know that, but that's, to us, that's always been a benchmark. Okay, that's halfway point. Well, at that point, she had 8 piglets. So that math works out. So she actually, after she passed that afterbirth, she stands up and turns around and starts facing the way she's facing now, and proceeds to have additional contractions and gives birth to 8 more piglets. And then, of course, in that last push, she's pushing out a tremendous amount of afterbirth. And that was definitely the mark that she was done, because as soon as that afterbirth came out, her whole demeanor changed. Her contractions stopped. You could tell the pain and just the shuddering of her body had dissipated. And she stands up immediately and kind of checks out the scene there. And even, it was a little bit aggravated that I was here, not getting aggressive, but just simply kind of giving some of those little warning grunts and just a little aggravation. So I, of course, quickly got out of here, just because I didn't fear that she would be aggressive toward me, but I didn't want her laying down, getting back up, looking, checking out what I was doing, all that. So I really wanted her to keep from promoting an opportunity for crushing her piglets as she keeps getting up and getting back down. Kelly and I just simply turned off the lights, and we went up to the house at that point, knowing that she was done, and what happens will happen that night. But fortunately, we didn't have any crushing. None of those were crushed. So as they get older, each day passes, the likelihood of them to be crushed decreases a little bit, because they become more agile, they become quicker, they can get away from mom as they lay down. Now, the interesting thing too, and this may sound a little gross, but you can understand why a piglet in a wild, or a pig in a wild, would have to do this. But these sows, we always recommend don't do anything with the afterbirth. Leave it, because the sow will actually come back and she'll clean up after herself. So she comes back and ingests all that afterbirth. And of course, it gives her protein, it gives her energy and nutrients that she needs, more so than even the feed, and that helps her out through that process of healing, and of course, being able to handle 14 piglets on nursing there. But it's also interesting that you think about that, out in the wild, all that afterbirth, that smell and everything, of course, would attract predators, and this is the most vulnerable these piglets would be right now. Of course, the sow couldn't really defend them, being exhausted from all that labor. So consuming that afterbirth, of course, is even a precautionary measure to keep the predators at bay. So things went really smoothly last night. We were excited to see how it goes. Again, we hate loss. We hate to lose one with the hip issue, the shoulder issue. We hate to lose one that was stillborn, but that's part of it. We've got 14 very cute little piglets right now, and hopefully we can keep that. We'll see how the next several days unfold. All right, well, it's Tuesday morning. Last time we recorded was Sunday, and wanted to give an update. This farrowing has kind of become a tale of two piggies, in a sense that Mercy had a good farrowing last Saturday, and had 14 viable, haven't had any crushed, knock on wood, still been good. But sweet Abigail here, she didn't do so well. She only had 8 total hit the ground, and we've lost 4. We had 2 that were stillborn, 1 that died shortly after hitting the ground, and then she crushed one of the largest ones. So I got 4 out of her. So it's disappointing to say the least. We feed her while got the opportunity here. There you go, girl. So needless to say, it's disappointing there. I tried to shoot for 20, and I'm not going to have that this time. So we'll have to just make do with what we've got. Ooh, that's a pile of pig. There you go, girl. But so what happened is Monday morning, I came down to check on her and could tell that she was starting to get into labor there. She was showing signs. And she was nesting, and I go up and get my shower, get ready to go into the office, and come back down, and she just had the first one, and so it was a stillborn, and it was completely undeveloped. It barely had legs, so that was unfortunate. And of course I had appointments. It's the one problem with having an off homestead job is you gotta stick with that sometimes. So I had meetings that I couldn't pass on, and I had to get to. So fortunately Kelly came down. She changed her homeschool schedule, and fortunately we have that opportunity to do that. She came down and she stayed with Abigail most of the day and watched. And she said there was even one that was born in the birth sack. The sack was so thick that the piglet couldn't get out of it. So she helped free that piglet. So yeah, it is a little disappointing. Abigail is still Abigail's still recovering from her birthing. She's not taking her food. I've been watching her to make sure she doesn't have any discharge, to see if there's anything going on there. But she seems to be all right. Maybe just worn out or grieving. But her piglets are nursing. We saw them nursing last night, so hopefully they're doing good. Mercy's piglets are little live wires. They're all over the place. She's up and eating. She's doing well. So, and like I said, I haven't counted them this morning, but I came down last night around midnight and everything was good. So Mercy's got her appetite. She's eating. So that's kind of where we stand. So again, the ups and downs of farrowing. So where we stand right now, we've got 18 viable, barring any additional crushing. All right, well, it's Wednesday evening. This will be the last I shoot for this episode. And as we give our pig updates, we're kind of where we were last time when I shot Monday. Or was it Tuesday? I'm losing track of time. Who knows what's going on. Mercy's 14 are still doing well. They're jumping around getting crazy. Abigail still has her 4, so she didn't crush anymore, and her attitude's changing. She's rebounding from her farrowing experience and getting up and eating, drinking, all that type of stuff, so it's good. We had a real frog choker of a thunderstorm just a couple hours ago, so everything is swollen. Water got into the barn, so fortunately didn't get into the area where they're hanging out and sleeping. But so they're doing well. I'm doing well. Here comes Mercy right now. She's eyeballing me. But Yeah, it was a good experience. Obviously, most loss we've ever had, and the lowest litters we've ever had since we've done this with Abigail's litter. But it is what it is. It's part of it. We've got 18 hogs or 18 piglets. My goal is to try to be in the 20s, but we're a little low of that. I'm not going to mess with trying to get some feeders and fold them into this group and all that. So we'll just go with 18, and that'll be what we have. I have pretty much decided I am going to have to retire Abigail and put her on the list at some point. That's going to be really tough for me, because that's almost like taking your dog to the butcher, because she's been a good pig. So yeah, that sucks. Well, as I mentioned before, we always appreciate comments on the videos and questions, concerns, even criticisms. We don't mind criticisms. Just don't make fun of my hair. We look forward to comments. We try to answer every single one that we get and try to respond. And I want to thank Jonathan Baker. He commented on our video about how to raise pastured pork for profit, and I really appreciate his kind words. And what had happened, a little backstory there. He went to our website, used our contact form, sent me a message and said, "Hey, I have some questions. Would you mind calling me?" And left me his phone number. I thought, okay, yeah, I'll call this guy. So called him, and we talked for a while. Probably talked for a half hour. He's in East Tennessee, working on getting started with pastured pork, and had some questions, and we talked back and forth. Again, I'm not an expert. I can only give information based on what we've done. I can give a lot of what not to do's, of course. But it was a really good conversation, and he left a really positive comment there, and I'll read that. His comment says, "Toward the end of the video, Troy invites you to call with any questions. I did just that. He's polite and patient, as well as knowledgeable on the business side of raising hogs. Thanks again, Troy. If you had not subbed, you definitely need to." And again, man, just that comment alone makes all this worthwhile. If sometimes we feel like we're broadcasting into the abyss, but we just hope some people can learn from what we've done, and obviously give some feedback to us, and maybe we can learn from what others have done. And I'd like to just continue this two-way street. If you guys want to post comments, if you want to ask questions, you even want to submit stuff, you can go to our website, contact form. You can submit pictures, videos, those type of things, and then we'd incorporate that into to what we're doing here, because we'd like this to be a community and not just us being a one-way street there. So we really appreciate that comment, Jonathan. Thanks much. Well, I had promised earlier that in this video we'd announce our winner for our February gift giveaway, the work gloves. But it's the first. We've had a lot of rain, a lot of issues, so I haven't had a chance to pull that random number yet from our email database. So tonight I will be finishing editing this. So I will announce that in our next video. Again, we're trying to release every Friday, so we'll have a video next week. But I'll announce that winner, and of course have my prize ready for March, the month of March as well. So apologize for not announcing that in this video, but obviously I want to keep things fair and square and use my random process there. So look for that in our next video. Well, if you have any questions or comments, again, feel free to include them below. Again, we'd like a thumbs up. That helps us out. Subscribe if you haven't. Be sure to visit us on our website, redtoolhouse.com. Sign up for that e-newsletter, and you'll automatically be entered for our drawings. Each month we're giving away some handy stuff that we think would be helpful on the homestead. And of course, find us on Facebook at facebook.com/redtoolhousefarm. Give us a like there, and follow us in that community as well. Take care.